the week before on Monday Night Raw, Triple H was viciously beaten up by the Nation, and they used a ladder on him, and I think that's where the whole ladder match idea and match got booked. Chyna is very pissed off about this, and she is calling out The Rock. She's in the ring. She comes out to the ring all by herself to call out The Rock, and The Rock shows up. And right behind The Rock comes the entire Nation of Domination, I think with the exception of Godfather, who was off nursing some brawl-for-all injuries. So you had Owen out there, second time we've seen him tonight. You had D'Lo, and you also had Mark Henry. So they're all in the ring with Chyna. There's a ladder in the ring as well. Rock climbs up on the ladder and cuts a vicious, sexist promo on Chyna. Again, looking back, it's amazing the shit that they would do during the Attitude Era. DX, of course, is nowhere to be found because the Nation has barricaded DX's locker room with a forklift. They cut backstage and they show, the big forklift right in front of their locker room door, so they can't even get out to the ring. Chyna's in there all by herself, and The Rock just starts talking so much shit to her, says she needs to get laid. Eventually, she lunges for The Rock. She tries to go for him, but the Nation grabs her and restrains her, so they basically hold her down, and Rock says, put her on her knees where she belongs. I mean, unbelievable. So they bring Chyna to her knees. They're holding her so she can't do anything. Rock is grabbing her by the face. He calls her a piece of trash, and he's just about to kiss her, and then says that he would never kiss a piece of trash like that, so he instructs Mark Henry to kiss her instead, and right as Mark Henry is going to force a kiss onto Chyna and sexually assault her on the USA Network, Shawn Michaels runs down to the ring. Shawn had recently come back earlier on in the summer to do some guest commentary spots. Luckily, he was in the house. He hits the ring with a chair, runs off the Nation, and the only one left in the ring is Mark Henry, and Shawn tags Henry with the chair. He rolls out of the ring, and in kind of a nice moment, Shawn just kind of looks at Chyna because they have a lot of history from DX, and Shawn's no longer wrestling. He's not in DX anymore, and he just kind of hands Chyna the chair, and he says, here you go, and he gives her a friendly little pat on the ass. So I don't know how I feel about that either. So basically everything on the show is fucking controversial, but it was great. So I remember when Shawn came out there, I'm like, thank God, because back then I was still assuming that Shawn was going to be back in the ring. Back in the summer of 1998, you felt like since Shawn was back, and he was on commentary, and he was shitting on WCW, there was no more fear of Shawn leaving to go join his clique buddies in the NWO and WCW, because when Shawn would do guest commentary on Raw during this time, he would shit all over WCW. So since Brett was there, Shawn knew that he couldn't go there, so he was back on Team WWE, and I thought he was going to be back. I thought by the end of the year, Shawn would be wrestling again, so I loved to see him come out there and save Chyna. I thought it was great, and the fans got into it too. We then go to a commercial. We come back. The Nation, DX, has finally escaped their locker room. They got around the barricade that the Nation had set up, and they are now in the parking lot looking for the Nation of Domination. They're pissed off. Triple H is livid, running around looking for The Rock, and we then go to the ring for a random kind of throwaway match with Val Venus and Taka Michinoku, and about a minute and a half into the match, Triple H comes storming out to the ring with a chair, beats the crap out of both guys, gets on the mic and says, Rock, at SummerSlam, you are going to be my bitch. And I loved it because it was the first time we really saw angry, oh my God, you might not want to fuck with this guy, Triple H. He was the blue blood, then he was in DX, and he was sophomoric and juvenile, and he still had a lot of that about him, but this was the first sign of the badass Triple H that we ever saw. Really, truly, that we ever saw. Triple H never displayed this side of himself. Was this really angry, over-the-top, scary guy. And even Shawn, who was doing commentary, he stayed out there after he saved Chyna, and he was on the mic. He goes, oh man, the big man is pissed. And when he gets pissed, you don't want to be on the other end of it. So that was really the birth of the angry Triple H, the angry side of Triple H that we would wind up seeing. The early signs of the cerebral assassin. So it was an overall great segment. Just the emotion with Chyna being restrained like that, and just the nuclear heat that The Rock and the Nation were getting, and then Triple H coming out there and just beating up a couple of guys and vowing to fucking murder The Rock at SummerSlam. I thought it was great shit. So, it was one amazing segment after another on the show. I mean, it just never ended.